Hi, Dr. Jeff Goins here with Dwarven Tavern, and today we're going on to the character creation part in this review of the Player's Handbook, 5th edition. WotC. WotC. I wasn't calling you a name. That's Wizards of the Coast. It's an acronym. We also call it WotC. I'm going to talk a little bit about character creation in part 1 of the Player's Handbook. Okay, so covered in Chapter 1, or Part 1, Chapter 1, Part 1, Chapter 1, page 11, 1-1, is step-by-step character creation. I like the way they did this because the information is encapsulated, meaning that if you're new to the game, you can read it, right? And you can find out, Part 1, how to choose a race, Part 2, how to choose a class, and it explains leveling, and it goes up to hit points, hit dice, ability scores, summary, the concept of the proficiency bonus, which is awesome. I really like it. It totally simplifies the whole skill check thing, and I'll get more on the skills later, but it simplifies the skill checks with a generic proficiency bonus, which is incredibly cool, very simple. I like it a lot. It's a good step. It's a good touch. In Part 3 of Chapter 1 is determining ability scores. And the whole time, you are actually building Bruenor. Okay? And I'm sure that's how I'm... Bruenor. I wasn't sure how it was pronounced. It's Bruenor. Really cool dwarf who has an unfortunate horn issue, as you can see right there. And Bruenor is a dwarven dude who I don't really know what he is. So I think he's a fighter of some sort. Best if you're new, it's best to start off with a fighter because it gives you an idea of the basics of the game. And then it goes to choosing the equipment, weapons, how to determine armor class, what armor class is, coming together as a party, right? And then beyond first level, which you hopefully will do. Everybody hopes to get beyond first level. Okay. Then it goes to the tiers of play. And that's not the tears you shed when you get a crappy Dungeon Master. This is a different kind of tiers. These are the tiers, as you can see here, in this area, that they are actually colored tiers. And I will quote, the first tier, levels 1 to 4, characters are effectively apprentice adventurers. They are learning the features that define them as members of the particular classes, including the major choices that flavor their class, like vanilla and blood. Including the, I just read that, features as they advance, such as a wizard's arcane tradition or a fighter's martial archetype. The threats they face are relatively minor, and usually posing a danger to local farmsteads or villages. And that's not the characters are imposing a threat, that is the things that threaten, they can go out and whoop them. Whereas the second tier, which is levels 5 through 10, characters come into their own. Many spellcasters gain access to 3rd level spells, crossing new threshold of magical power, such as Fireball and Lightning Bolt. Careful with those. And at this tier, many weapon-using classes gain the ability to make multiple attacks. So there is a distinct separation of experience point values. Okay? So if you have a first tier, which is level 1 through 4, the experience points are 0, then it's 300 to 2nd level, 900 to 3rd level, and 2,700 to 4th. Okay, that is 300 or 3 times, right? So 300 for 2nd level times 3 is 900 for 3rd level times 3 is 2,700 for 4th level. Then the difference between the second tier, is, which is 5th through 10th level, is 6,500 to 14,000, 23,000 to 34,000. So it takes more than just 3 times that number. Or actually, it takes less than 3 times that number. Because there's a lot of numbers there. And then, of course, 3rd level characters have reached a level of power that sets them high above the ordinary populace. That sets them high above the ordinary populace, meaning they're actually heroes that are head and shoulders above the average adventuring type. Right. 11th level, they gain spellcasters gain access to 6th level spells, which is pretty decent. Other characters gain features that allow them to make more attacks, do more impressive things with those attacks. These mighty adventurers often confront threats to a whole region and continents. So he's like you've got the small little guys that are looking for adventure in bars, taverns. Everybody starts in the tavern. And then you have the guys that defend the area. Then you have the guys that defend, they're like overlords. Then at the 4th tier, levels 17 through 20, characters achieve the pinnacle of their class features, becoming heroic archetypes in their own right, or villainous. Not around me. Or not around my guys. The fate of the world, or even the fundamental order of the multiverse, might hang in the balance during their adventures. So it's it's short of epic level. Epic level is 20th level, over 20th, which it's not covered in this, but I'm sure that's going to be a later edition. Then it describes the races, and the races in this book in this edition are elves, which are elves. Then it has dwarves, which it actually shows a female dwarf. All right? Very rare, an adventuring female dwarf. As we know from 1st edition, that females do not adventure for various reasons. There's a very serious gender difference between adventuring dwarves. So there you have it. In elves, of course, it has the elves. And it also contains a selection of names, race names, which to me is very cool. Plus, it also shows about racial attitudes toward other races. For example, what dwarves think of halflings. And in this case, it says, "Sure, they're pleasant folk, but show me a halfling hero, an empire or triumphant army. Even a treasure for the ages made by halfling hands. Nothing. How can you take them seriously?" And that's my real voice. This is phony to act like a human. I'm really a dwarf. Then it explains the Duragar, which are gray dwarves that we don't like. Pooey. Then it has the elves and elf names, elven traits, how they feel about dwarves. Dwarves are dull, clumsy oafs, but what they lack in humor, sophistication, and manners, they make up in valor. And I must admit, their best smiths produce art that approaches elven quality. Okay, that's why we don't like elves. They're snotty. So it goes on to talk about the halflings with their little bitty hairless booted feet. Sorry. And it, otherwise it depicts them just fine. It depicts them wonderfully. And then, of course, it ends up with humans. And then it talks about the Dragonborn, which are Dragonborn. It reintroduced gnomes. Okay, gnomes as player characters. I used to love my gnome. Pooh Yug Dug Rug and Oklapop was his name. He had 2 brothers. And then we move on to half elves, half orcs. Then it goes into tieflings. It kept the tieflings. I don't like tieflings or tieflings or whatever you call them. I don't care. And that is the races. In the next video, we're going to talk about the classes and the changes therein. So, I'm Jeff Goins, Dr. Jeff Goins, with Dwarven Tavern Reviews. This has been Player's Handbook and the Character Creation section. Don't forget to look us up on Facebook. Give us a like. Subscribe. Don't forget to do that. We'll be back with more. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to see you next time.